Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Forever United TV. Welcome back to your Saturday morning show. This time next week, Manchester United will have kicked off pre-season proper against Leeds. Well, a few hours ahead, but still 1 week to go to get any transfers in or out of Manchester United. This is your latest updates on everything that's going on in both sides of Manchester United's transfer window. Today, it's on Jadon Sancho. Again, this looks like the only player that Manchester United are dealing with right now, or is it? More stories this morning talking about the potential moves. Obviously, we know about Brian and Bumo. Nothing more to bring on that one, but Manchester United's midfielder hunt as well. Update on the two young midfielders that are coming in. Update on Guerra as well from Valencia that's coming this morning. An update on Anthony also from Spanish reports and why he's out in Brazil still. Is there something coming with that? Looks like Sancho and Anthony are the only ones that are anywhere near close. But, like you see in the title, again, the reality. The only reason I'm even going in on this story this morning because I'm absolutely sick to the back teeth of Jadon Sancho's stories right now, as I'm sure you are all as well. The only reason I'm going in on this because it's probably the most realistic numbers that I've seen put across yet this window in what I think United are going to be looking at and what we're going to be getting for Jadon Sancho. Yesterday was severance pay discussions and people talking about that, 4.3 million or something like that it was. That's what it's going to take to buy Sancho out of his contract for the last year and then sell him on. And now today we're moving forward with, like I said yesterday, and pretty much all the way through this window, an acceptable offer. Well, a realistic one. Acceptable is probably the wrong words because I know that Manchester United, if this story from Damasio is true, are going to turn this offer down. It is a very, very low ball offer. But like I said, what are we expecting now? 7, 8 weeks going on now into the transfer window and no movement. Sometimes you have to just drop down and accept what's coming. And I think this is, like I said, the realism now that Manchester United are facing. Are they going to accept it? That's what we're actually looking at right now. So the bid is in, apparently. Now, Juventus have offered Manchester United somewhere in the region, I think it was 8.6 million with 4.3 in add-ons, somewhere around that mark for Jadon Sancho. So the add-ons are in bonuses if he does hit that mark. Yesterday, we heard that Romano said they prefer Conceição. So obviously, they're not going to bid 25 million for Jadon Sancho. I think that was the point Romano was making. I made the point yesterday, was this deal off because they want Conceição? They obviously are looking at both, and talks have gone on. Even Romano said that United have talked to Juventus. But the realistic number, what we're looking at, and what Man United can accept for Jadon Sancho, I think is this. I think it is purely around about 8 million. That's all this money's worth. Look, you've got 5 million from Chelsea and a penalty. I've said all along, take 10 to 15 million and get this man out of the door. Last night we reported that if you work out with the numbers and the days and how long Jadon Sancho's been here, apparently Manchester United in June still owed Dortmund 17 million in transfer fees for Jadon Sancho. Now the new financial year, which is this July, has just passed and that payment would have been made at the start of the month. Hence, like what Sir Jim Radcliffe was talking about, if you read between the lines and listen to what people have said, that's what we're expecting. So now we owe nothing on Jadon Sancho from this point. He's paid for. That's how I make it anyway. Now, I can be wrong about that, and I did say that last night also, but when you look at this now, right, to get this man out of the door and get him off Manchester United's books completely, which is costing United over 10 million a year, do we accept these types of bids? Like 8 million up front, plus the 5 million from Chelsea. And that's a man that you know is going to absolutely sting you for every single penny that he can. So what we have to do here is put the two conversations together. Do we believe the severance pay report from yesterday? And do we believe that Damasio this morning, who has got nothing right so far this transfer window, the only reason, like I said, I'm talking about this is because it's probably the most realistic number I've seen reported so far for Jadon Sancho. I was buzzing. Like, I thought them reports, like I said, I held my hands up. I got taken in by them reports from Italy about 25 million being agreed. I've seen Ben Jacobs talk about it. It looks like it's complete and utter crap, to be honest. And this is probably where we're at. Like I've said this before, I expect United to loan Sancho out, pay part of his wages, and then obviously say goodbye to him in the summer and he's off the books, take a loan fee. But this probably right now, with the structure of them deals in place, like I said, with Sancho now being paid for, I think maybe Manchester United will be looking at this, right? Okay, let's save ourselves near 6 million in wages by doing the severance pay. Then let's take the 8 million plus the 5 million basically that we've got from these deals, and going into our financial year, let's forget about that 17 million because that's calculated in the books already. So that's 17 million done, out of the way. Now we've got what, 8 million plus 5 million, so you're looking at probably what there, about 13 million quid. His wages gone, so you take the wages severance off the 13 million quid, you're probably making about 9 to 10 million on Jadon Sancho, and you don't have to pay. At this moment, you're making about 9 million quid. You don't have to pay his wages for the rest of the year. Take it and bleed him run is what I'm saying. And that's the reality that I think United have got. And that's the way that I have looked at this transfer window. I know what we're up against. I've said this all along. Some people will say I'm delusional for backing Ineos. Some people will say that I'm an Ineos and an Ineos fanboy and cannot understand why I'm backing them. I'm not backing them. I'm just accepting where we are. And this, I think, is exactly where United are. We have to look at deals like this and go, actually, this actually makes complete sense. And do you know what this will do? This, well, it won't please all of the United fans because some will say, look at that crap deal that Ineos have got. Are you looking at other football clubs that are asking for stupid amounts of money? Madueke is 52 million, and look what Chelsea got for him. Why can't United do that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, let's be honest about this. And let's be very clear here. Madueke is playing for Chelsea. He's playing games. He's performing. He isn't a problem. Sancho is a problem. Manchester United got paid 5 million to have him sent back to us by Chelsea. So we know he's a problem, not just for us, but for them. And then you add to this the story that Ben Jacobs broke yesterday and was reporting on, which tells us exactly what Chelsea offered Jadon Sancho. Did you see this report yesterday? It came out last night. I was looking at it, I thought, you slimy, horrible, and I thought, why am I even getting stressed about Jadon Sancho now? I've said this on so many shows, so you might as well just back yourself up here and say, look, you know what this man is, accept what he is, and then looking at this deal from Damasio, just go for it. Get him out of here. Get him gone. Make a big statement. Accept that low offer and just say, look, we're moving forward. We want players at this football club that want to be here. We've lost out. Yes, we have, but we've got a little bit of money in the bank from the Jadon Sancho deal, and now we move forward from here. Just get him gone. Get him gone. That money there will help Juventus afford Jadon Sancho's wage package, which he wants. And that's probably the report. That's the angle that Damasio's going with this morning, which it makes complete sense to me. And again, the most realistic look on it. But just touched on Ben Jacobs there a minute ago and what he said. Apparently Chelsea offered Jadon Sancho 180 grand a week wages to stay at Chelsea and he turned it down. That there is the man you're dealing with. If that doesn't show you exactly what Manchester United are up against when it comes to the likes of Jadon Sancho, I've not heard anything on Rashford yet, so we'll only judge Sancho first of all because he's the only one with significant numbers out in the open. And 180 grand a week to stay at Chelsea and compete in the Champions League, and you didn't want to accept that. You wanted to go back to Manchester United and let them pay you to go somewhere else, probably in your mind, because you are bitter and you think you've been hard done to. Seriously? That's what United are dealing with right there. That type of character. And that is hard to get rid of. That's hard to eradicate from a football club, particularly when they are being paid so much money. It is the idiots that paid this, or accepted this wage and offered this to Jadon Sancho before that have left us in this shit. But look, we can always keep going back to that. And I have gone back to it a few times. But right now we need to look forward. What can we do now to change what's going to happen in the future? What is there for us to get right now? There is 9 million there and Jadon Sancho is gone with no more wages to pay. Is it just me, or are you really expecting Manchester United to get more? I mean, talk to me in the chat and tell me what you think, because I don't think that this is actually that bad. I really don't think getting that money for Sancho and him being gone is as bad a deal as what people... I think when you give yourself a chance to think about this and you sit back and you go, we are just going to lose him for nothing because he's quite clearly not going to accept what's on the table anywhere. He's turned down 180 grand a week. He's turned that down to play in the Champions League. Honest to God, that there should tell you exactly what Manchester United have and what they're up against. And I think if you break it down like I have, look, I could be off with the numbers. I might be a little bit out. I'm just going off what's been said. And apologies if I am wrong. But one thing is for certain in all of this is that you are rid of Sancho and you've got a tiny little bit of money left over. It's either that or pay his wages again and have him laughing at us for another year. Officially, at this moment, you could get that amount of money into your bank account and Jadon Sancho be off your books. Gone. No longer affiliated with Manchester United. No longer a part of this football club. And by the way, where the hell is Jadon Sancho? Where the hell is he in the world? Everybody's back at training now. Everyone who played in the internationals. Sancho didn't play in the internationals. We know that for certain because no one will go near him with a barge pole at the international level. So, when you look at this, by the way, Tuchel actually did have Jadon Sancho while he was at Dortmund, by the way. So he knows what this player is. There's no chance he's getting into the England fold. Jadon Sancho's fleecing every single penny he can out the rest of his career. He doesn't give a shit about football. And this is what we're dealing with right now. So where is he? Well, he's turned down 180 grand a week. Why is he not in any pre-season training? What's going on with Jadon Sancho? All these questions need to be asked about this man. It is an absolute farce, and it's making Manchester United look like a complete circus again. So, what do? You cut that off, you take a little bit of money, and you're rid of the problem. Done. Stress, gone. Accept the offer that's on the table. Look, DiMarzio might be completely wrong here. Romano will come out later and completely cold water the whole story and everything like that. And again, like I said, I'm struggling to believe DiMarzio at the moment, but I said it at the top, and I'll get your comments in on this now. The only reason I'm talking about this and bringing it up this morning, I'm sick to the back teeth of dealing with him or talking about this guy. I think he's an absolute leech, to be honest, Jadon Sancho. He really is. He pretty much epitomises everything that the Glazers and this football club and when it was being run at the time were. That transfer, everything about it, wrong. Not looking into the recruitment, the problems that this man is. Why is he only performing in Germany? Why did Pep kick him out? Why is Hojlund taking him to training and making him stay at his house so he gets there on time? None of this was looked into by this recruitment team that was here before. And again, it just sums it all up in one. So, looking at this, the money that's on the table apparently in this report, I think it's real because of the amount. It's the only reason I'm running it. Let's get your comments in on this. I put the poll in. Would you take 8 million for Jadon Sancho? 64% of you have said yes, so there's a majority by far, but still 36% of you, which I get. You want more money. You want Manchester United to act like the big dogs. But again, I don't think people are looking at the bigger picture with it, in that Jadon Sancho is a Manchester United player who hasn't done anything for 3 years, near enough, for this football club, and is seen by the world of football as a big problem. You're not going to get big money for him. Manchester United have set this target high, I think, and I'm hoping they're thinking that this is going to be brought down with different bids from other clubs, like this now where we're at with Juventus. Let's see if we can negotiate in, I don't know, maybe we can get 10 million out of it and just run a mile. Run, like, honestly, I'm just picturing that meme that everyone puts up with Forrest Gump running out of his driveway and running straight down the street at 100 mile an hour. If you can get away from Jadon Sancho with over 10 million in your bank account right now and everything paid for and him off your books, gone. Speedy Gonzalez, right down the main road. See you later. Thank you, Juventus. You deal with him now. Oh, God, that will be a weight off the shoulders. It really will. Let's get into some comments on this, first of all. Are you saying that I am ludicrous in thinking that this is a good deal? Again, talk to me, everybody. Get into the chat. Would be cheaper to just hire Hitman, says Ant on the super chats. Glenn also says, sorry, what is going on with my bleeding setup? Sorry, everyone. I'm just going to completely reset everything there. It's shaking all over the bleeding place. When I think about United selling players, it reminds me of a scene from a sitcom where this woman was trying to sell second-hand furniture and instead they charged her to take it away. Yeah, completely spun and completely conned. I get it. It's what it feels like, doesn't it? It's a great comparison, Glenn. Thanks for the super, mate. And Lee, thank you again. Lee Grant says anything less than 14.8 million is a book loss. At the moment, not really. I don't think it is, to be honest, mate. I think United are looking at this now that he's paid. I don't think Manchester United, in their world, are willing to pay Jadon Sancho anymore. So what you're looking at here is it's going to cost Manchester United another 10 million in wages, and that's what people are not adding in. That's the difference. So it's going to cost us 10 million for him to do nothing for us. You take a little bit of a loss in terms of the overall, but you've still got a little bit of money in your bank right now. Remember when we were talking about Laurie Whitwell's approach to Rasmus Hojlund? They will take a loss if they accept a certain amount of money. And we know how much Manchester United need to bring the PSR books level with players. I think Jadon Sancho, because he's right at the end of his contract now, I think it's a case of what's the least damage we can take. And it is a loss, you're right, mate. We are going to lose out on this deal, but we have to accept that loss. And what we're looking at right now is, on the books, maybe, yes, it doesn't look great. Manchester United have lost out overall, but right now, what can it do? What can it do right now? That's what we're looking at, I think, in all of this. And then you'll add in the 5 million that we got for a penalty, which they're going to put onto it. And don't get me wrong, you're not getting all of this money that's coming in. It's been paid for. It's been taken by what we're having to do to get rid of him. You get a few million out of it at best. That's it. If you manage to get a deal and the severance pay and everything like that involved, look, we're going to lose. But what it does right now is stops Manchester United for this financial year having to pay 10 million in wages for Jadon Sancho. And that, at the end, 10 million could bring Manchester United that Bryan Mbeumo deal, or get another midfielder in, or do something else. That combined with Rashford, that combined with Antony, that combined with, obviously, Garnacho as well. This is where United have to accumulate all of these deals for one. Maybe Jadon Sancho is the stepping stone. He's the first one that takes Manchester United to a point in this window. And it will be later on in the window. Like I said before, I think United could be busy late in this transfer window. I think it could actually be a part of where Manchester United actually then start to get a little bit busier in incomings as well. It's all together really on it. Welcome to the Members Club again, Tom. I love that, buddy. Thank you very much. Let's get into the live chat as well on this one. Adam, the value in selling him selling him for this fee is just to get him gone. Exactly. Problem gone. No more wages on the book for Jadon Sancho. No more having to use resources to try and deal with him every single summer. It's just get rid of him. And this is what I said, it sounds like a completely ludicrous deal. It sounds like Manchester United are actually losing out on it. We are losing out, but it's bigger than that. There's a bigger picture in Jadon Sancho leaving for a low ball offer. And that is that Manchester United have accepted their mistakes from before, and we've taken the hit. I said it, it's in the title. This is the reality. It's a harsh reality for this football club to take, because we're seen as one of the biggest clubs in the world. But at the moment, we can't act that way. We are definitely nowhere near where we once was. We finished 15th in the league, for God's sake. It's appalling. We're not in Europe. It's a disaster. So, you have to act, I'm afraid, where you are, where your level is. And right now, on the football pitch, Manchester United are bottom half of the table. And that brings you that type of finances to deal with as well. And with United's overheads and everything else involved, United are stuck, well and truly. United also paid the severance to Woodward, the fecker that bought this cancer named Jadon. The Ten Hag sets us back another 5 years with his dumb purchases. Says TK. Markash says, I would take 10 million up front, one payment from them, so he's fine. Let's see what we've got in here. It's getting through. Tim says, Adam, what were you saying last night about Radcliffe not paying the extra million to get Mbeumo done? Surely Amorim would tell not to be tell him, I think you're supposed to say, not to be so stupid and just get him done. I need him. I do as well, Tim. I do, but he isn't going to do it. He isn't going to buckle. So Jim Radcliffe, I said last night in that show, he isn't going to buckle over 1 or 2 million. I think this was, I remember talking about it. It was Laurie Whitwell who brought this up. There is a lot more involved with this deal for Sir Jim Radcliffe than what we actually see. Maybe we'll find out what the actual ins and outs were when this deal is done for Mbeumo, one way or the other. When we find the detail, we may all look at it in a different way. And we may look at what Sir Jim Radcliffe's done on United and go, actually, that's not that bad. Actually, that's good business. And now I can see why it took so long. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws with that there, obviously. I'm not saying that that's right and that's how we all should be thinking. Right now, we are, like I said last night, now we're in, what, 39, 40 days in to that opening negotiation for Mbeumo. So I get the frustration, and I'm not going to tell anybody that they're wrong in feeling that way about this deal. It's a bit of a disaster for Man United when it comes to it, when you're looking in on it, and that's where we're at. But Jadon Sancho, just on that one again to finish up, £15 million, Sancho, fair enough. We have to pay Sancho off too. That would be the severance. Yep, you pretty much just, you're scraping by with a few mil at best for Jadon Sancho. That's it. Move on. And that's what we're going to do right now. That's the latest Jadon Sancho updates. If you are catching up later on, do drop your comments in later on. Sorry, later after the video is finished. It's live. I'll check through a few of them as well today as I'm pondering around. And yeah, get your points across. Like, do you just want him gone right now? Get him out of the club, and we're not having to talk about him anymore. It would feel nice, actually, not having to talk about Jadon Sancho. It really would. Like I said here, look, La Stampa, this is another outlet from Italy. They're saying that Juventus have agreed a €20 million, 17.3 million deal with Manchester United for Jadon Sancho. He wants to negotiate a severance package at Old Trafford before any move. It's like La Stampa have taken the news from one source and from another and seen what Romano has said, put it all into one, and then made up their own story. I don't believe it. I don't believe it anymore. I really couldn't care. They're a big outlet as well, La Stampa. They have a massive following and have been established for a very, very long time. I looked into them the other day just to try and figure out who it was, because I've seen some other reports from them. I honestly don't believe it. I don't. And do you know what else is hard as well right now? And happy birthday, Luke Shaw. We signed this man as a teenager, and he's turning 30 today. Sorry. I'm bringing it in. I'm bringing it in just to wind everyone. No, I promise you, I'm not trying to wind you up deliberately. I'm not. Just quickly before we finish on the Sancho one, I was like, who do you believe? I honestly, like right now, I would look at Damasio's and I would take it with a pinch of salt. I would say, I don't believe it from what you've done before. You've been wrong with quite a lot so far this summer, like a lot of journalists have. And do you know what? It's probably a good thing that these journalists are getting things wrong with United, because it's not the same old United. Things are in-house right now. The fact that nobody knows what's happening with Mbeumo, in a weird way, is good, because nobody's leaking anything out and nobody knows what's going on. Maybe it would be a bit of a breath of fresh air, actually, that we find out later about Jadon Sancho, rather than, later on Brian Mbeumo, rather than while it's all going on and what's happening. I think the frustrating thing for everybody is not knowing and not knowing what's going on. That is always the biggest, that's always the biggest annoyance in anything like this. It's the unknown. It always stresses us out more than anything else, doesn't it? Okay, while we're on the Italian side of things as well, let's get into the other reports that are coming out. There's always loads. What is it with Italian clubs and United over the last 2 summers? It's constant, isn't it? A bit of information that's just come out from Gazzetta Italia, which says Inter Milan will have around €100 million to spend this summer. Hopefully 45 million of that goes towards signing Rasmus Hojlund, someone's put in one post. But in terms of the finances of Inter Milan, will they go back in for Rasmus Hojlund? Now, we know I'm just bringing that up because there are conversations going on this week, and obviously players coming back. Rasmus Hojlund wants to stay at Manchester United unless he's told he wants out. We've heard reports before that he is open to moving to Inter Milan as well from quite reliable sources. So again, it's the unknown. No one knows exactly what's true on that one. I think there's been a few guesses on Rasmus Hojlund's future so far this summer. But again, like if United want a striker, it does seem, if we buy Mbeumo, it does seem like United are going to have to move somebody else on. And United have not got a problem, and I think it's very, very clear that everything Rasmus Hojlund-wise, in terms of him leaving, is Amorim pushed. He doesn't rate him. And I agree with him on that one, clearly, and I think a lot of people do. Anything in terms of Rasmus Hojlund staying is, again, player-driven and not wanting to let go of this perfect life, which is Manchester United, where you can continue playing and have no repercussions and have no accountability for your poor performances and keep on playing. Anybody would want to do that. It seems like there's no pressure on these players. They're protected so much from the outside world unless they delve into social media, obviously, and we've seen the reaction to that. But this is why everybody wants to stay at United, because we've lowered our standards and it's easy to live at United. You get paid a fortune, you get to go train, you get protection from the real world, you get extra money on top of what you're already earning for doing next to nothing when it comes to what Manchester United standards used to be. That is where we're up to with Rasmus Hojlund. So Amorim and United want him out, clearly. He wants to stay. And at the moment, only being 2 years in and what we still owe on him, it looks virtually impossible to get Rasmus Hojlund out of Manchester United. So that's the update on him. Anthony now, and where we're at with him. I'm going to get into all of the other news as well. So bear with me, everybody. Keep your comments coming in. I will get to all of them, including the Super Chats as well. So Anthony, in his situation, there is a report going out this morning from Spain that the reason behind Anthony not returning to Manchester United training, like Rashford, like Garnacho, obviously, like Malacia. I've not seen Malacia come back yet anyway. But yeah, Rashford now obviously back, Garnacho back at Carrington training on their own. Anthony, Sancho, no shows yet. And Anthony's situation is that, according to Spanish reports, and this is Spanish again, they're saying that Anthony has accepted the big pay cut necessary to join Real Betis, and this deal is close. So they're saying the reason Anthony isn't going back to training is very similar to Bryan Mbeumo, which is they want to try and get something sorted before the player returns. Now, I fully expect Bryan Mbeumo to be in a Brentford training top on Monday morning. I don't think this deal's going anywhere near completion on Bryan Mbeumo. Anthony, you could then use alongside that and say, well, that's probably the same for Anthony. But why is he not back? There's no reason for Anthony not to be back at Carrington. And that's the question that I think a lot of Manchester United fans and pretty much anyone really looking in on this situation would be thinking. It's like, why is Anthony not back at training yet? Are they holding out because something has been agreed behind the scenes with Anthony? Now, the report, again, like I said, and I stress it is coming from Spain, is that, and we've known this all along, so it may have some legs in it, but Anthony actually accepting the pay cut. Now, we've known before that he is willing to facilitate and do what he can to make this move happen. So Anthony dropping his wages to a level where Betis can bid something where Manchester United are willing to accept, as in they're not going to accept a loan deal for Anthony unless they get a massive chunk up front, and then maybe Manchester United could work something into instalments later on. For instance, if you've seen the Victor Osimhen transfer situation right now and where the bid is at with Galatasaray and Napoli, so they've upped the bid to 75 million euros, but only 45 million of that is guaranteed. The rest will start in instalments the year after. So this is where you can be creative with transfers. And Betis' offer at the moment, I think for him and Anthony, I think Betis are in and around 20 million. Going off reports, that's their bid for this initial fee for this year. On top of that, then maybe more instalments come later on. Maybe 15 million in instalments starting next year for Real Betis and Manchester United's agreement. So that's where I'm seeing. They're the sort of conversations I'm seeing happening right now with a lot of these reports, particularly with Anthony from the Spanish side of things. They're trying to be creative. United are open to it, but obviously we're expecting there to be a timescale on this. Maybe this timescale is this week. Like, what can you offer us? What are you willing to put down to convince us that Anthony isn't coming back to training at Carrington on his own, and then we're going to find somebody else for him? Maybe there is a secret deadline. Again, going back to not everybody knowing exactly everything that's going on, it's probably a good thing, because we're used to all of these leaks coming out and knowing everything that's happening. United keeping it in-house. I'm hoping. And again, I'll make sure, I'll stress that on that side of things, I am clutching at straws a little bit. I'll admit that. I'm trying to find a positive there, I'll be honest. But I'm just looking at what's happening right now, and the obvious is there in front of everybody. Look, Anthony's not returned. Why is he not back in Manchester like everybody else? Like, Cunha was on international duty with Anthony, and that's all he's played all summer. So why is he still out in the wilderness? Why is he not back? Has he been given that extra bit of time because he's willing to make a move and make a sacrifice, and United are giving that to him so he can maybe negotiate a deal? And then the Spanish stories come in and say that Anthony is willing to take a pay cut. Maybe it's moved along. Maybe we'll get something next week on this one. Or maybe Anthony comes back to Manchester United and is training on his own next week, and we start all over again halfway through the transfer window with less time to get these deals done. You see how we're working, don't you? It's like the optimism is there, but then obviously in that you have to accept that there is the big reality that there is no deal anywhere near done for either of these players that we're talking about this morning, in Anthony and Sancho in particular. And the reality of being a Manchester United fan, smack right back across your face again, and then you're like, oh, come on. But they're there in front of you, and you can read the reports anyway. Let's get some more chats in. Pete, thank you, Pete, again for the super chat, mate. Adam, Sancho is like a garden sale deal, like an old TV. It cost us to buy, but it's obsolete, and we might as well just get a few quid for him in the junk sale. Junk, yeah, that's it. That's what it is. Reality is, it's like nobody realistically wants him, but they're willing to take a chance on him at a cheaper price. It's like when you go out into it and you buy something second hand, it's like, should I get the guarantee and spend more? Or should I take a chance? And this one has been actually treated all right in the past, and we can get a bit out of it before we actually go out and spend more money on an even better one. That's what it is, isn't it? It's like renting a house before you actually go out and buy the house and commit financially. At least you know when you're renting, you're not committed, and it's not going to cost you as much in terms of, well, it's still going to cost you, obviously, but you're not committed to it. You're not actually straddled with that, and you don't have to deal with it afterwards. You could just throw it away again. That's where we're at. I think that's where a lot of clubs are at with the Jadon Sancho situation. I do. Fornster says, will these players come out slate Manchester United after we sell them? More than likely. I could definitely guarantee you something will come from Jadon Sancho's and Rashford's side of things. Although Rashford did say to Emmy Winter he doesn't want to disrespect the football club, remember that? So we have got that still. That could be something there anyway. Moving on as well, I'm going to keep your comments coming in quickly. DH says, Anthony is 40 million, and if they want to pay 20 million now and then the rest over a couple of years, fine, but at least we get the amount overall. Yeah, and United can balance that in their books as well. So again, it's a realistic look on things. It just depends if Betis can get it done. That's the big question right now, isn't it, with this one? Okay, in terms of what's actually happening right now outside of the Bryan Mbeumo situation, again, Juan Vissar, again, that Tottenham interest is still there apparently. However, they have not contacted Brentford since they were told the cost was 50 million. So Brentford holding out on Bryan Mbeumo in a way has kind of helped us in that they are standing their ground with every single valuation of every player that they've got. So the report is that Tottenham have got an interest in Vissar. Nottingham Forest have got an interest in Vissar as well. Them two are at loggerheads, obviously, over Gibbs-White at the moment anyway. But all have been frightened off by Brentford's ridiculous price tag of 50 million for Vissar, and that is going to hold up any move for them, giving United probably time to get the deal done for Bryan Mbeumo, hopefully. Anyway, moving on. Manchester United's interest in Javi Guerra from Valencia. We spoke about this the other day. I went into detail on this deal. Are United actively in for Javi Guerra from Valencia? Well, no was the answer to that. Do we have an interest in him? Yes. So apparently the update on Javi Guerra is it's pretty much decision time for him, because now in that report that we did the other day, we did state that there has been a renewal offer from Valencia that apparently now is in, and this has come from Daniele Logo as well. He was the original one that reported the interest from United and Milan. Apparently Milan are now out. They're too late. United have indeed put their interest in him, and an offer is on the table to Guerra in terms of what he would get at Manchester United. It will probably be substantially more than what Valencia are willing to offer him, We could safely say that. But this is a young Spanish kid who is happy to stay at Valencia. But just to back up what we've actually already said on this and keep you updated with everything that's been reported, Javi Guerra is a player that Manchester United have looked at for the last 2 years. At a reasonable price at Valencia. They've tracked his momentum, they've tracked his progression through the Valencia team. He's on the brink of the phenomenal Spanish side, which is hard to get into. He's mainly been an under-21 Spanish player. Good player. Is he ready for the Premier League? I don't know. Honestly, is the answer to that question. Again, it's the unknown with these foreign players coming in. At a cheap price of 20 million, 20 to 25 million, I think it was, United would be interested. Again, I would buy somebody else rather than him. But just to keep you updated on that, Manchester United have indeed put an interest across, and we're waiting to see what he wants to do. There's nothing really significant in it. It was just a bit of an update, as like Valencia have finally made that offer to him. So what we're saying here is it should be put to bed. He'll sign for Valencia, or he won't. If he doesn't, speculation will continue. But I think, going off what's been said, the expected outcome from this is that he re-signs with Valencia, and then obviously there's an agreement. It's one of them, like Matthews Cunha ones. Sign a new contract, and we will release you for this amount of money and not stand in your way. Basically, Valencia trying to get a bigger sell-on clause to fund the sale of Guerra when someone else big does come in for him, which they probably will do. But at the moment, there is no real release clause there with any value for them. So with 2 years left on his contract, let's renegotiate that. Let's slap a big sell-on clause in there. And so when he does go, we are guaranteed to make a certain amount of money. That basically, I think, is the scenario with that. But that's the update one. Apparently, now Valencia will put the offer in, so we should be able to put that to bed soon enough anyway. But like I said, if he doesn't accept that, expect the speculation columns to continue with Javi Guerra as well from Valencia on that one. Manchester United's double swoop for the two midfielders, the two academy midfielders. So Seth Ridgen, and he's a Fulham midfielder, and Tyrese, I think it's Nubisi, he's another player at Manchester City. Now, Laurie Whitwell broke this news last night. We knew about the Seth Ridgen, but we didn't know about the Nubisi side of things. So United double swoop for two midfielders, highly touted, very well thought of midfielders at the academy level, with everybody after both of these players apparently. So again, it's Manchester United doing their work behind the scenes with young academy players. Whether or not you are interested in that, I did make the point last night, like, I've said this all along, with these two players and a lot of the work that's been going on behind the scenes at Manchester United with the academy and everything like that, I understand people don't really want to know about that. I understand people actually are more interested in the bigger stuff and what's happening now. I mean, that's what we're paying to watch at the end of the day, isn't it? So, yeah, realistically, I know that this is just a little bit of a future building project for United. But one thing I've always said is, like, and what I always made a point of going through seasons, I've said the same thing and stuck to it every single time, which is Manchester United have players and deadwood players in the way of a lot of our young academy players coming through. And I'm seeing the likes of Shea Lacey training with the first team right now. The good thing about this is that Manchester United are actually now in a position where they have got rid of 8 first-team players in the 3 that we released and the 5 that are not coming back. So if anything, Manchester United should be able to bring through a few more youth academy players into the setup this pre-season, and we get to see some of these players given a chance instead of the deadwood players and the problem players at Manchester United. So in a way, it's good that we've now got the opportunity. And believe me, Shea Lacey is an absolute baller. And again, Ruben Amorim and his team, with them personalised programmes that they've given the players over the summer, making sure it's to prevent injury, it's to keep the players fitter and sharper and come back ready to go. Maybe the injury-prone players, like, we've got no injury concerns at all. Like, Leach is back in training in his own sort of personal recovery program now, not a million miles away. Luke Shaw's fit. Mason Mount is fit. Like, you've got a lot more. Something's changed. Like, there is a little bit of positive in the fact that we haven't got any injuries all of a sudden. Now, something's changed there, and obviously there is a different look at what's actually happening. Look, injuries can happen at any time, but that alongside actually being able to work with some more of Man United's academy players might actually be a good thing. We get to see Vitek, we get to see Coney, we get to see Chido, we get to see Lacey, we get to see some of these players. We may even see Ibrahimov come through as well. And all of this actually just gives us a chance to maybe this summer really have a good look at some of Manchester United's really talented young players as well. And maybe some of these younger players that United are looking to bring in. Like, it is busy behind the scenes at United with all of the academy stuff. So I don't think we can forget about that. I think we have to look at that and say that is a positive. I know it falls into complete insignificance in the bigger picture of things and what we're talking about now. We're in the middle of a transfer window and you're all shouting at the screens, I don't care about the academy, Adam. All I want is United to actually spend some money and bring some players in and get this team moving on the pitch for Ruben Amorim. I get it. I'm with you as well on that one. I do like the academy side of things, though. I think it is a big push for Manchester United trying to get back to that level that we was. And look, like, you look at all of the teams that are bringing academy players through. Like, you look at what Man City do. You look at what Arsenal have done, Liverpool have done with some of their players now as well, and how much they're worth. Obviously, if you get it right at the academy level as well, it can actually really boost what you get out in the first team. And I mean that as actual results on the pitch, and obviously as well in this, you're looking at maybe actually getting money for these players as well in the future, like what Chelsea and City do. And everybody talking about how Manchester City and Chelsea get away with what they get away with. They do actually bend them loopholes to fit their financial model as well. And by that I mean, like, they get good money for their young academy players, which gives them so much room when it comes to PSR and financial fair play. Yes, you could go extreme and say what Chelsea are doing with selling the women's team and the hotels and just trying to monetize absolutely everything that they possibly can to get through financial fair play. Fair enough. I think that you could probably bring up against this argument, but you cannot deny that they sell their academy players for very, very good money. And I think that is a big thing to remember in this as well, that they do manage to get around PSR easily because of that. United just haven't done that. But again, we are about to rake in a little bit of money in the academy side of things, in Elanga, Alvaro and Ogielli as well. So that money is coming into Manchester United. It would be great. It would be great if Marseille did sell Mason Greenwood. That would be a great deal for us. And that would really boost our finances. But again, like I said, Manchester United, when you look at it so far, even if we haven't sold Jadon Sancho at the moment, we're looking to have raised, what, when you look at it, in player sales that are not at the football club, Sancho's penalty fee, Elanga, Alvaro, Ogielli, that takes us to about 21 million. And then with the tour that we did in Asia, we've got about 30 million more extra in without selling any players. That's basically where we're at. So you can see why Manchester United might be thinking of maybe just getting rid of Jadon Sancho, like we talked about at the top of the show, accepting that low bid from Juventus, because we've actually got a little bit of money in to cover part of it, and you've got rid of the problem. And I think there's a lot of United fans secretly out there right now that would just say, look, I don't want to praise Ineos or Manchester United for anything right now, but accepting a loss and getting rid of a problem like Jadon Sancho is a big step forward for this football club. I really do think that needs to be talked about, as well as what money we can actually make from deals. I think some of them are just as important, even if you're not making a lot of money. We chased a shower of shit for 2 years as well in Jadon Sancho, says Ant with a super chat. Yeah, that is really annoying. That just shows how inept Manchester United recruitment team actually was. Peter says, Adam mate, with all this negativity from United, just want to drop some positivity. Hope you and Kaz are enjoying your holiday. Have a drink for me. Thanks for all the hard work. A love from a Dublin pal. Pete, absolutely love that, mate. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Really do appreciate comments like that. And I will have a drink. Thank you, mate. Liam in the chat says, we signed some kid from Southampton. Can't remember. Emson James, mate, is his name as well. Emson James. He is a highly rated centre-back as well. So you've got him. That's what we've signed. We've got Kanabiak also, who Manchester United have signed. He's been loaned out to Lausanne. obviously owned by Ineos also. So he's going to be getting first team action. So that's the striker from Le Havre. You've got Emson James as well. He has come in. Centre-back, he'll be going into Manchester United's academy. Diego Leon, who we all know about, he's playing with the first team at the moment. Also, from last summer, Chido, Kone, them players you're expected to come through as well. And obviously Manchester United now looking at these other young talented players that we've just spoken about there. In Region and Nabisi from Manchester City and Fulham respectively. So again, lots to look forward to going forward. What about the now? Well, the now is, like we said at the top of the show, maybe United do accept a low-ball offer for Jadon Sancho and cut ties. Antony is being held up in in Brazil, because apparently, according to Spanish sources, there is movement on that deal, and we could be seeing something happen soon because Antony has accepted a wage cut. So let's see what comes from that. But that is our show finished this morning, everybody. Thank you so much. Absolutely love that. Great chat again this morning, everybody. Great comments in there as well. Loving the fact that there's so many of you actually getting in your opinions on this. And I've been balanced with it as well, instead of a lot of what the numpty is doing, slagging me off for my views on certain things. It's acceptable, don't worry. And I understand that the fan base right now is at its wit's end. Let's just say that. Let's see what the weekend brings, and let's hope that it brings us some good positive news on the United side of things. I will bring you any updates as they come throughout the day, if they do drop. But past that, I will obviously see you later on for the live show, later on this evening as well. Have a great day. Have a great day in the sun if you're in England. I know it's warm over there as well. Me and Kaz will do the same here. So thank you again. Mods, great job in the chat, everybody. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, everybody. Let's get that up near that 500 mark again. If you're loving the content, give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, please, everybody. It helps the channel massively. It helps us grow. And we are very, very close to that 90,000 mark now. Less than 100, everybody. So if you can, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that 90k mark. And let's start looking ahead. A week from today, United are playing football. Boy, do we need a deflection away from the bleeding transfer window. And Leeds United in Stockholm is probably what all of us need right now. A break from this, but it's going to keep on coming. So brace yourselves, everybody. It is the roller coaster we expected. I will see you all